Hi, I'm Raghavendra. So, I study in 10th grade, Gumpa Road Municipal English School, and I run a small initiative called Paramarsh, where through my advices, I try to foster student leadership in my school, and we have 6 projects going on in the school. When I came back from the institute, and then I came across this problem in the school that there is lack of teachers. I mean, there were only 3-4 teachers over 6 classrooms, and those 6 classrooms were filled with 300 students. And we were so lucky to have 2 regular teachers every time putting in those hard work, a lot of hard work, and the other kids were not getting that. So we thought that, I mean, our 9th grade, if our pedagogy skills are so good, then we should try teaching them. So I started with it, I'm thinking, and then Bhaiya was also thinking on that, and then I came up with this idea of I going in the classroom and teaching, and then some of my friends, I asked them if they can also teach. So we just started, at first we started random teaching we just went to the classroom, took some chapters, and whatever our ex-fellows has taught the way, then we started teaching them. And then so then we thought, then I went back and thinking about what can be done better in this. So I thought, like, why don't we don't have anything called Teach for India Youth. We have Teach for India X and then we have Teach for India everything, but we don't have Teach for India Youth, where there are a lot of student leaders, they are also teaching, but we don't have this kind of structure. So I planned it, and we came up with the structure. So the structure had 3 things. First was the recruitment team, then was the fundraising team, and then was the teaching team. So for better people in the team, in the recruitment, we had kept our recruitments Bhaiyas and Didis, and it was a 3-round recruitment. First was an extended essay about why do you want to do this, a 500-word essay. Then was a PI with them, personal interview with them, and then was a model classroom. So we wanted to get those best people, so in that we can teach. Then we got 5 of us, and then I was also among them. I was teaching them, and then we started this regular structures. So all these structures are trying to create that quality education for those children out there in the 9th grade. So then this process will continue, and if in the future we are facing the same problem, which is lack of teachers, then that can be a very good help for the school. So even if we leave the school, that impact is there. So that is the idea of sustainability of that project. So that's how Gurukul started. So first thing in the school that I came up with was talent traders. So talent traders was like, which the students in itself did not have they did not have that relationship as a buddy or as a friend. They were like classmates, relationship as a classmates. You did this chapter, I need this help, you can teach for this homework, what is the homework for tomorrow. And in the Teach for India classroom, it's altogether completely different. It's like, can you help me with this, and what are you facing problems at the home. So we wanted to create a space for expression, for any form of expression. I was not able to balance it out because it already been 2 projects, then studies, and plus people's pressure about 95%. So that striked, and then I don't know, I just started discussing with Bhaiya, because anything comes up and I start discussing with him. So I started discussing with him, and then for the first week we did not get any solutions about how can something be done. You were doing it also and you're balancing it out. So then one day they were talking about McKinsey, and I found this idea very interesting, and I went on Google searching about what is consultancy of an idea. And so I started this, and then I remember this, I was already doing it just by in the classroom, just advising people. I think I just structure, making a formal structure. So I just came with Paramarsh, and then from Paramarsh we started, and we are doing good in that. So we came up with more 3 projects. Basically, Paramars is like an advisory sort of thing to all the students, to if they want to make a social change in the society or want to take some social initiative. I am there to help them with them. So it's like it has 5 phases in it. One of the first phase is to just understand about whether the student is passionate or not, just having a one-to-one conversations with them and understanding what change they want to make and deciding the draft for that draft structure for them. Then second phase is I work with them initially, so it's like I'm still working with them, but in the initial, right, it's like 50% of the work we are doing. And so I just provide them the platform and the layout structure, and then it's like the base is set. So in that, the third phase comes when I leave the project, not sort of leave the project, I take a step back and they are the ones who are leading it, and it's like I am in the monitoring phase. We have those trackers in the laptops, so we track them about what projects have we having, and then we have monthly meetings and weekly meetings through those learning circles. We check whether what is their impact, are they actually going to do it or not. So until now we haven't come across any case that the student leaders has not been able to do it. I think that is happening because the amount of trust and confidence we are showing in the students, it's automatically getting them to do that. And then the fourth phase is just introducing to them various opportunities around them. And fifth phase is finding out the sustainability for that change in that project or initiative. Paramars is currently working with 6 pilot projects. One is Talent Readers, which is working towards building non-cognitive skills among students. Second is Eklavya. Eklavya is working towards making students independent learners through learning circles. Then Ujala is about creating awareness and doing something for gender inequality using the art forms. For example, they'll start, if they find that one community is very biased towards girls or not accepting those transgenders in this community, so they will start doing street plays there, and through posters and all using art forms, they'll start spreading that awareness there. Then we have ScienX. So the idea of ScienX is using the scientific temper, we analyze our day-to-day lives. And it started because all the students so we had a science lab that was always closed. We could not use any material resources. So then some of our students are really interested in those science experiments and also, and the syllabus change, and there are a lot of experiments, try this, but there is nothing to try out. What these students thought was that why don't we create a simpler structure of these experiments, just to encourage the curiosity among the students towards science and showing them what science can bring to their day-to-day lives, their thinking perspective, scientific attitude towards solving problems. So there is one more student leaders in a classroom. So one of the projects is called Space. So Space is about building communal harmony so it's like a lot of religious bias play out in our community and the school. It's like in the school, if you go to other classes, they're like, will not sit with a particular religion, or they have a lot of biases against each other, and it is because it has come from the community. So one of the guys, he was very passionate about leading a project, and he came up with this idea of Space, where in his community he's trying to celebrate festivals with different students, different friends he has, and then he's tried these activities in the classroom also, like if we celebrate Eid together, one thing that he makes sure that if there is any festival, then we all wish each other about that festival, whether it is a Hindu or a Muslim. So it's like if there is a Eid, we'll say happy Eid to everyone. If there is Diwali, and we'll say happy. So it's like small activities. He's trying to just stop those communal disharmony that is there. So his philosophy is like, from fire you cannot stop fire, from water only you can stop the fire. So he's thinking about anything can be done through love. I think student leadership for me is that whenever you get some learnings or exposure you get, and that's something that wrong perception about being a leader in the society or the community is that being a leader is just you just lead from the front and you just start, everyone starts obeying you. That's not what is a leader. A leader can be in a front, middle or a back. For me, leadership is like laddership. So laddership is just you being a ladder for others to climb up, and then they, with your use, they are leveraging each other. So that is, I think, what that same applies to student leadership also. When you are a student leader, you are not leading anything, you're not leading anything from the front, and you are not like the king and all. Just you are acting as a ladder for everyone else to grow. There is no sort of leader. There are everywhere ladders in the classroom. Whichever you want, you can climb. So one of the first thing is that students have they are very different from among themselves, and it's like when you see Raghavendra acting in the classroom, and whenever you see any big personality act, I'm not telling I have a big personality, it's just like whenever you see some people doing more than you automatically become deficient. That happens to me also. Whenever I'll go somewhere else and I'll see these people know more than a lot, then I would stop myself from speaking, that if I speak something wrong, they'll judge me. So I think that was one of the major problem. But when we started making the classroom and I started being very open to the kids and then students, my classmates, and then I understood that I just started telling them, there is something that I know, that is something that you know. You need to be open to share that what you know, and I'll share what I know. And there is something that we don't know each other. So all together we are learning from each other. So there is nothing to be, very, very scared about not sharing. It's what we together are learning, and it's not just one person gaining or one person learning. So that first was that making them feel confident, and that we did with the help of Bhaiya also. And it's very being open to me. So if I just tell them, you can be very critical to me. So for example, if I might have treated you in a wrong manner, you come to me like, hey, look, Raghavendra, today you disobeyed me or did not let me put my point. So I take it as openly, and I think I will not be doing that next time. So I think that is personal help, just being very vulnerable with them and acting as a friend. So I think some impacts are that my advisors have helped them form structures, and in those they have been able to scale up this project to different levels. So I've already told you that Eklavya has taken lead in some schools, and then Ujala is working in the community. So it's like first it was school, and then scaling opportunities and those structures about how to just measurement of impact in project, how do you do that. So those things have something that I've helped them with. And something that we all as a collective are making an impact is that Paramarsh has just just helped leveraged 15 student leaders more in the school, one of them being a non-TFI student, and 6 projects running and working on different issues from gender inequality to making students independent learners, and working with so Gurukul is already impacting 150 non-TFI students, and altogether I don't know, but 250 plus people I think we are indirectly or directly impacting through the collective change making that we are doing. I think there is not something to be proud of yet, because there are still 15 of us only, and there are much more problems than this, because there is climate change, there is so many problems. You see garbage outside, you see gutter outside, and you see there are a lot of thousands of students in the school itself who are not having teachers. And then when you step out of the community, you think about there are more problems. So I think think something to be proud of would be when all of our classmates, everyone is 40, when we create those 40 leaders. I think then will be something prouding, but something that satisfied of that we have just able to come up with 15 student leaders and 6 projects. Yeah, so for the 2020 vision that we have is that creating 15 more student leaders, but 10 of them being non-TFI kids, because you create certain structure and it's like a cycle, it is happening in that structure itself, but how do you make the impact outside bigger?